All right, let's record. I'm going to go first by reminding you what you ought to be doing if you had a multiplication or division by starting with some division. If you know multiplication, you automatically know division. All right, there's a 2-for-1 deal. So let's get to this. If you are dividing, it's going to be essentially the same thing as rewriting the fraction as a multiplication of the reciprocal. Okay, and if you want me to color code it, I will. We've got some red and blue and green. If the blue is on top, then the blue is now on the bottom, and the green is on the bottom, the green is now on top. I don't think I have to go any further than that. Change the division into multiplication, and away we go. Once you've established that, I hope you know how to multiply. It's essentially multiplying across. You don't have to write this, but this is what's happening. 1 times 3 and 7 times 2. You're multiplying the numerators with each other. You're multiplying the denominators with each other. This is your final answer. That's it. Now, sometimes you will have numbers that allow you to simplify before you multiply everything. So let me explain. For E, I can rewrite it as 1/6 times 4/1, a reciprocal. And if, I'm going to put it here, if I just multiply across, this is what? 4/6, 1 times 4, 6 times 1. And we can reduce that as 2/3. But tell me, how did I go from 4/6 to 2/3? What happened to both numerator and denominator? I guess both numerator and denominators were divided by 2. If you want to do the division earlier to make yourself, to save you the trouble, you can. 4 and 6. 4 is in the numerator, 6 is denominator. We can divide that 2 earlier. So 4 divided by 2 is a 2, and 6 divided by the same 2 is a 3. You do not. So 1 times 2 in this case, and 3 times 1 gives you 2/3. It gives you the same answer. Yes. Pardon? Long story short, the fraction that you're multiplying by, or dividing by, is what's rotated. Correct. And this is a sort of story or a conceptual explanation. If I have something, some kind of like cookie or whatever, if I divide that by a 2, in other words, I cut it into smaller pieces, it is the same as multiplying by half. These two are going to give the same result. Dividing it by 2 or cutting it in half or multiplying it by a half are the same thing. And so only do the reciprocal of the second fraction or whatever fraction you're dividing by. Okay. And that's it. That's it. So we're going to show quickly. So we're going to show A and B, bottom examples, and I'm going to do the top 3 examples on the back page. I'll do one of the harder looking ones on the bottom of that back page, and the rest of the class is yours to use. Ready? Here we go. What do we do when we have mixed fractions? As a reminder, how do you change a mixed fraction into a improper? Us? Yeah. I have 2 wholes. They are 8 pieces each. So I have 16 pieces added to the 3. In the same way, I am going to, this is 3/1, obviously, and there is 2 wholes, 7 pieces each. So this fraction can be rewritten as 3/1 times 2 times 7, 14, added to the 6 pieces already. That's going to be a 20. The final answer is 60/7. And that's it. Like, you don't have to change this into mixed. Leave it. I'm happy. Yay. Party time. Never. Never. From any mathematician worth their salt, I have never seen them use mixed fractions. You could. It's a waste of time, though. You're not going to get extra marks for it. Just leave it. Yes, Abby. Yeah, reduced form, the lowest form, yes. Right. That's why you're working so hard to do this. And that's why we're trying to do this earlier. Right? But yes, lowest form. That's the next one. Again, please don't be confused by the negative. Pretend the negative isn't there as you are changing to improper. So that's a bracket multiplied by a bracket. A -2 is essentially -2/1, right? And then.
Good afternoon, sorry for the interruption. Mr. Gladstone, please make your way to room 323.
7 times a 4. Got 28 pieces to deal with. Add another 3. This is 31. Careful. Don't pretend the negative isn't there. Just pretend it as a single number. And then remember that it's actually a negative. So again, 7 times 4, 28 pieces. I have 3 pieces on top of those 28 pieces. So I have 31 pieces, but remember that they are actually negatives. All right. Sorry, I keep doing that. So multiply across. Again, if you multiply across, the answer would be positive 62/4. And if I reduce it, divide the numerator and the denominator by 2, I get 31/4. Over 2. Where's my... Now, instead of going this route, you can reduce it first. I have a division of 4 and a multiplication of 2, or I have a 4 in the denominator, 2 in the numerator. I can divide the both numerator and denominator by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So multiply across, 31. Multiply across, 2. They are one and the same. Whatever works. You can choose. Any questions? I think it's just a matter of practice. What you're doing here is probably relatively straightforward. You just gotta keep practicing. Here we go. Let's do, which one looks harder? I want to get to E afterwards, so let's just do C. Again, can I give you a minute to try? I'll start with this and you can try it. Okay, and I'll give you a minute. Okay, that was a couple, that was a good minute. We have with us, since we are doing a division, we can rewrite this as a multiplication. We didn't really learn, there isn't any real method for divisions. It's the same as the multiplication, it's just easier that way. So if you do it the long way, you multiply across 11 times 2, multiply across 3 times 11, you would get, and if you reduce it, numerator and denominator can be divided by an 11. There. But if you want, you can reduce and divide by 11 earlier. What is this divided by 11? Well, 11 divided by 11 is here. And the it's a 1. Right? Divide the numerator and denominator by 11. We get 1 times 2 and 3 times 1. 2 over 3. It's the same thing. So let's consider a situation where you've given bed mass to deal with. And instead of just multiplication and division, you have to deal with subtraction and addition. So this one's going to be long. I am going to work out, if you want to just listen to how I process it first before you copy it, may not be a bad idea. Step 1. By bed mass, I have to do the brackets first, which means subtraction. My previous lesson tells me that I need to subtract by making the denominators equal. So that is this. Right? But it is nicer to work with improper. So let's change this to improper first. I'm doing whatever I need to make my life easier. This becomes 13 over 4 subtracted by 9 over 2 squared and then plus 1. Yes. Now I will make the denominators equal. 13 over 4. 18 over 4. Now I will subtract. Okay, I figured out everything I need to for that bracket. Now that I'm done the bracket, it's time to do the exponent by bed mass. A negative times a negative is going to be a positive. 5 times 5 and 4 times 4 is 16. Please be careful. There were some people in the quiz that made very careless mistakes. Right? Absolutely didn't need to lose that mark, but you did. I'm running out of space, so I need to move this down a little bit. If I want to add fractions, again, I need to have the common denominator. So this is 25 over 16, 16 over 16. That's what this turned into. 1 became a number divided by itself. A 1 could be any kind of fraction. 1 over 1, 2 over 2, 3 over 3, 4 over 4. It all equals 1. Right? Well, think about it. If I had, well, so let me finish this question. This would be 41 over 16. While people are copying that, I'm going to put a little sticky note here to help you understand where that thing came from. 1 is equal to 1 divided by 1. It's also equal to 2 divided by 2. 16 over 16 is a 1. So this number right here could be changed to any fraction I want, really, with the same denominator. I turned it into 16 over 16 because I need the same denominator. That was really fast. Any questions? I got one more to do, but we're going to the hard one on the bottom. Any questions with this? Oh my gosh. How many people are out right now? Are they all back? Just got one. Liam? Okay. All right. I'll show you one more example. I hope that you'll be self-sufficient. You'll be able to do as all of these as possible. It's super important that you continue practicing. That's why I'm just grinding all these questions down with you. What happens when you have a question such as this? When you have this expression on top? To avoid confusion, understand that this big line is the division sign. And you've got a fraction on a fraction. It's true. What you want to do, the easiest way, in my opinion, is to pretend that the numerator and the denominator are separated by brackets. See if you could simplify the numerator on its own. Yes. Otherwise, this division of 3/10, it's dividing the first fraction and the second, like the first number and the second number, it's dividing both at the same time. It can get really confusing. So here's what I'll do. Let's solve the top. Let's solve the numerator. Okay, I made the number 2 equal a fraction 8/4. And as a note, well, 2 is the same as 2/1. Right? And that is the same as, I'm going to multiply both top and bottom by 4, and I'm going to multiply by a 1. So 2 is the same as 8/4. Okay, which equals to this. And you know that a division, oh sorry, a fraction is another way of writing a division. We've got and all of a sudden that looks familiar. How do you divide a fraction? And if you get to this point, I'm going to see, and you can do it however you want. You can reduce it early or you can multiply across right away. Your final answer should be 5/2. See if you can make that happen. For everyone else, I know some people are still copying, that's fine. We have just about 20 minutes before the end of class. And I know the questions on the back of this sheet are going to be a little bit much for just 20 minutes. So what I'm going to ask is for numbers 2 to 5, let's do like A and D, A and D, A, D, A, D, A and B, whatever. Do every other question or every other question. Get a good mix of all the different kinds of questions that could be asked in preparation for Thursday. I won't ask for your homework check that every single question be done, but I do want to see effort. And for those of you who may find this a little bit more challenging, I need to see more effort from you, not less. I need to. Okay. Any questions? Try to do some of the homework today, in the least. See if you can finish off all the examples we didn't do on the first page before you go. I'll close the recording here.